There's a specific kind of embarrassment most men never talk about. You spent good money on an outfit. You felt confident leaving the house. And then someone, a colleague, a date, your best friend, says something. Not mean, just casual. Someone says, "Oh, is that Zara?" And suddenly you realize you didn't look the way you thought you looked. Here's the thing nobody tells men. Looking cheap has nothing to do with spending less money. Some of the most expensive brands on the high street are making men look cheap every single day, and their customers have no idea because the logo feels like protection. It isn't. I've gone through 7 of the most popular men's clothing brands, brands most men trust, brands that feel safe, brands you've probably bought from this year, and the truth about what they're actually selling you is not what you'd expect. But more importantly, I found 3 brands that do the complete opposite. Brands that make an ordinary man walk into a room and get noticed for all the right reasons. One of those 3? You've probably seen it 100 times. Dismissed it. I dismissed it. Most men do because of where it's sold. Stick around, because that one might actually change how you shop. Number 7. Superdry. And I know what you're thinking. Superdry isn't cheap. I paid 60, 70, sometimes £100 for their jackets. That's not a budget brand. You're right. It isn't. And that's exactly what makes Superdry the most interesting case on this list. Because this isn't about what you paid. It's about what people see when you walk in wearing it. Ask any well-dressed man what he thinks of Superdry. Not the price, not the warmth, what he thinks of the look. You'll get the same answer every time. Too loud, too obvious, trying too hard. That's the worst place to be in men's fashion. Not cheap, not expensive, just loud. The large chest logos, the pseudo-Japanese text that doesn't actually mean anything. The distressed graphics. These aren't design choices that age well. They're design choices that date you. A jacket you bought in 2019 doesn't just look old, it looks like 2019. And everyone in the room knows it except you. The cruel irony of Superdry is that underneath all that noise, the construction is actually decent. Warmer than you'd expect. Better stitching than most brands on this list. You're not getting robbed on quality. You're getting robbed on perception. And in men's fashion, perception is the whole game. Number 6. Shein. Now before you say I don't shop at Shein, stick with me. Because even if you don't, the men around you do, and you can tell. Shein drops over 1,000 new items every single day. 1,000. That's not a fashion brand. That's a factory with a website. And when you're producing that much, that fast, at those prices, something has to give. And what gives is everything you actually want from a piece of clothing. Here's what Shein looks like in real life. The fabric is thin. Not thin like a summer shirt, thin like you're wearing a photograph of a shirt. The prints that looked great on your phone screen fade after 2 washes. The fit that seemed sharp in the product photo. It photographs well because it is designed to photograph well, not to be worn, not to last, to be seen once on a screen and bought immediately. And that's the whole business model. Get you to buy before you think. The prices feel like a win. A full outfit for €20, a jacket for 15. But here's what that actually costs you. You wear it once, maybe twice. It starts to pill, fade. And suddenly that €15 jacket cost you more than a jacket that would have lasted 3 years because you bought it 4 times. But the real cost isn't in your wallet. It's in how you look, and more importantly, how you're remembered. Number 5. ASOS. ASOS is interesting because it doesn't feel like a cheap brand. The website is slick. The models look great. The range is enormous. You can find literally anything on there. And that's exactly the problem. When a brand sells everything, it stands for nothing. ASOS Design, their in-house label, is where most men get caught out. You're not buying from a brand with a clear point of view. You're buying from a brand that reverse-engineered what's trending this week and produced it as fast and as cheaply as possible. And it shows. The materials are mostly synthetic, polyester, nylon blends, fabrics that don't breathe and don't drape. On a model with perfect lighting, they look fine. On you, in a real room, under real light, they look exactly like what they are. Fast fashion trying to look like something more. Then there's the sizing. ASOS Design is notoriously inconsistent. A medium in one item fits nothing like a medium in the next. And when your clothes don't fit consistently, you spend your whole day adjusting, pulling, second-guessing. That's not confidence. That's distraction. Here's the thing about ASOS nobody talks about. The platform itself is brilliant. The marketplace, the variety, the convenience are genuinely useful. But ASOS Design specifically is the brand quietly making men look like they got dressed in a hurry. And the worst part? Most men wearing it have no idea. Number 3. Primark. Primark doesn't pretend to be something it isn't. And in a strange way, that's almost refreshing compared to everything else on this list. The prices are what they are. A t-shirt for €8, a shirt for 12. Nobody is claiming this is luxury. Nobody is selling you a lifestyle. It's cheap clothing at cheap prices, and Primark has never hidden that. So why is it on this list? Because the problem isn't Primark itself. The problem is what happens when a man builds his entire wardrobe around it. Thin jersey that loses its shape after 3 washes, prints that crack and fade. Fabric so light you can almost see through it under office lighting. Individually, a Primark basic is fine. As a complete outfit on a grown man in a professional setting, it reads. And not in the way you want it to. The camera doesn't lie. Neither do first impressions. Number 2. Zara. And this one is going to upset some people. Because Zara feels different from everything else on this list. The stores are beautiful. The mannequins look incredible. The designs are sharp, modern, and often genuinely impressive. And that's exactly what makes Zara the most dangerous brand on this list. Because Zara has mastered one specific skill above everything else. Making clothes look expensive on a hanger. In the store, under carefully designed lighting, styled by professionals, a Zara outfit can look like it cost 3 times the price. Then you get it home. The seams that looked clean in the store start pulling after a few wears. The fabric, often a polyester or nylon blend, catches the light in a way that reads as cheap in natural daylight. The lining wears thin, the buttons loosen. Zara sells you the dream of looking expensive, and for about 2 weeks it delivers. After that, the clothes start telling a different story. And the people around you, the ones who know what good clothing actually looks like, they noticed before you did. Zara's design is genuinely good. The problem is what's underneath it. Strong aesthetic, weak foundation. And in men's fashion, foundations are everything. And number 1, H&M. I can already hear it. H&M? Really? That's your number 1? Yes. And here's why. Every other brand on this list has a specific problem. Boo-hoo Man is too loud. Shein is too disposable. Zara looks great for 2 weeks. Superdry screams too hard. But H&M is everywhere. It's the default. It's what men reach for when they don't know what else to reach for. And that's precisely what makes it number 1. H&M has become the uniform of men who stopped thinking about how they dress. Not because it's the worst quality on this list. It isn't. Not because it's the loudest. It isn't. But because a full outfit from H&M's core basics communicates one thing very clearly to everyone around you, that you didn't really think about it. The fabrics are thin. The fits are generic. The colors fade faster than they should. And because everyone has worn H&M at some point, everyone recognizes it. That recognition is not working in your favor. There is a reason the most common question a well-dressed man never gets asked is, "Oh, is that H&M?" Nobody assumes quality when they see it. They assume convenience. And convenience is not a style strategy. H&M isn't making you look poor. It's making you look like you don't care. And for most men in most rooms, that's actually worse. Number 3. Uniqlo. So that's 7 brands, and different ways the fashion industry has convinced men to spend money on clothes that work against them. And look, I'm not here to make you feel bad about what's hanging in your wardrobe right now. Most men on this list got there the same way. Nobody taught them any different. The brands made it easy. The prices felt reasonable. The stores felt safe. But here's the good news. Looking sharp doesn't require a new wardrobe. It doesn't require a stylist. And it definitely doesn't require spending more money than you already are. It just requires knowing where to put that money instead. 3 brands. That's all. 3 brands that quietly do everything the previous 7 don't. No loud logos, no disposable fabrics, no clothes that peak on the hanger and disappoint in real life. Just well-made, well-considered clothing that makes an ordinary man walk into a room and look like he has his life together. And remember that brand I mentioned at the start? The one you've probably seen 100 times and dismissed without a second thought. We're getting to it. Uniqlo doesn't sell trends. It doesn't drop 1,000 new items a week. It doesn't plaster its name across your chest. It just makes basics that are genuinely better than they have any right to be at this price point. The cotton is heavier. The colors hold longer. The fits are consistent. A medium is a medium every single time. And because there's no logo demanding attention, the clothes never date. A Uniqlo shirt you bought 3 years ago looks exactly as sharp today. That's not an accident. That's the whole philosophy. Where H&M gives you thin and forgettable, Uniqlo gives you clean and considered. Where ASOS gives you inconsistent sizing and synthetic fabrics, Uniqlo gives you structure and reliability. It's not exciting. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to make you look like a man who has his basics completely under control. And that's more powerful than any logo. Number 2. Asket. You probably haven't heard of it. And that's exactly the point. Asket is a Swedish brand that made one decision every other brand on this list refused to make. They stopped chasing trends completely. No seasonal collections, no new drops, no limited editions designed to make you feel like you're missing out. Just one permanent collection. Refined until it's right, and then left alone. Every piece lists exactly what it's made from, where it was made, and why it costs what it costs. Portugal, Italy, natural fibers, factories that have been vetted and verified. But here's what actually matters for how you look. Asket clothing has a quality that's almost difficult to describe until you've seen it in person. It sits differently. It drapes differently. A simple Asket t-shirt on a man looks considered in a way that nothing from the previous 7 brands ever could. No logos, no noise, just quiet confidence. And quiet confidence is the most powerful thing a man can wear. Which brings us to number 1. Number 1, Suitsupply. And there it is, the brand you've probably seen 100 times. Dismissed 100 times. Maybe you walked past the store and thought, that's not for me. Maybe you assumed it was too formal, too expensive, too serious. Here's what those men are missing. Suit Supply isn't just a suit brand. It's a complete wardrobe system for men who want to look genuinely sharp without paying designer prices. Shirts, knitwear, outerwear, casual pieces, all built with the same philosophy that made their suits famous. Italian fabrics, proper construction, fits that actually work on real men. This is the brand where FIIT finally makes sense, where a blazer sits the way a blazer is supposed to sit, where a shirt doesn't pull, bunch, or balloon. And here's the thing about Suit Supply that nobody talks about. You don't have to buy a suit. A single Suit Supply shirt, worn with clean trousers and simple shoes, will make you look more put together than a full outfit from any brand on the previous list. That's not an opinion. That's just what good construction does to a man's appearance. This is the brand smart men already know about. Now you do too. 7 brands making men look cheap, 3 that don't. You now know the difference. Start with one swap, just one piece. Pay attention to how people respond. And if this changed how you think about getting dressed, please subscribe. We want to help multiple people on how to dress well for different occasions. See you in the next one.